Welcome to Energy and Personal Excellence. This is Sachin Karnik. This is a brief recording on gambling addiction. I will be making a series of these recordings on a variety of topics, and these will range anywhere from 5 minutes to 10 minutes, and will cover a whole range of different aspects of a variety of different mental phenomena. So today's topic is the nature of pleasure, which has been an area of study by historians, philosophers, psychologists, neurologists, psychoneurologists, or neuropsychologists, for a long time. So obviously, there is an experience of pleasure when winning happens in any form of gambling, and that experience of pleasure has a certain source. So, in my opinion, the experience of pleasure comes from the significance that is given to the money that is won psychologically. So the mind is giving a certain type of significance based on one's overall life circumstances, and also just based on the fact that a win has happened. So when winning happens, it's not the same as earning money or stealing money, although there is some overlap. It's not the same as finding money also. Winning money is different. It comes from the possibility of a loss. When a bet is made, there can be loss. And if a loss occurs, the emotion changes significantly. So there is quite a bit of disturbance in the flow of emotions as soon as the gambling activity is thought about and then, of course, acted upon. So the flow of emotions changed rapidly, where there can be enhanced energy in the experience of potent pleasure based on the level of winning. So, for example, if somebody puts a $5 bill in a slot machine and then wins $10,000, there is an intense experience of euphoria, or there can be at least. And that experience is sought after. That experience is felt as if that it should be repeated, and it's a very intense personal experience. So the intensity that exists in that experience is energy. So energy is always flowing through the system, and in the experience of pleasure, it's highly concentrated and it's awakened to a certain level. So there is energy activation that occurs by the gambling activity itself. And then if a win happens, or a significant win, there is a tremendous amount of energy activation in the creation of euphoria, the high, as it is called in the addictions world, but or just a peak experience. So a peak experience happens, and that peak experience is intensely enjoyable, pleasurable. It has a lot of energy. It's very powerful. Of course, that experience is not sustained. It cannot last. It just remains for some time, and then it comes back down. And then the mind remembers that again. It remembers that experience again when the time comes. So let's say, for example, someone wins $8,000, $9,000 on a slot machine or blackjack or roulette or wherever, lottery, it doesn't matter. They have that intense experience. They go home with the money. Now that money is viewed in a very different way in the addicted brain. So the normal brain would probably just view it as money to be spent for expenses or investment or whatever. But the addicted brain is not looking at it that way. And the person looking at that money is not aware of this usually. They're looking at the money as a drug, because money is the agent of the gambling addiction. It's not the cause of it, as this is a famous and very well-known statement in the gambling addiction field. It's the means through which the gambling addiction becomes active. It's not the money directly, it's the gambling with the money, it's the betting with the money that causes the intrapsychic mental addiction to become active. So when money is won and brought home, that euphoria continues, for hours and hours. That euphoria continues, and Many times there's a reluctancy to spend that money for normal expenditures, or even if some money is spent, there is an intense desire to go back and continue that process. So what is the addicted gambler looking for? Well, if you kind of back up a little bit, person who has won money wants to win more money with the money that they won. And if that happens, that increases the euphoria multiple fold. So if, for example, if somebody's playing a game of roulette, they put, $100 on a direct number, they get $3,000 win, something like that, $3,200. And if that happens, that's a lot of money very quickly. And then they take that money and then bet with that again. And then let's say that 3,000 becomes 10,000, 10,000 becomes 15,000. Let's say that happens. So now the mind of the individual wants that to happen indefinitely, that 15,000 becomes 20, it becomes 30, 40. There's no upper limit. It just wants to keep going and going and going and going endlessly. And this is the desire. This is a fantasy. Obviously, that's not going to happen. That is never going to happen that way. It's not going to go on endlessly. There can be some brief periods of some intense wins, but then there are, all that money is then usually lost by gambling more and more, betting more and more. And then once that money is lost, there is a real sense of tremendous amount of devastation that can happen. So the euphoria is one extreme, and then the losing of all of the money is another extreme. And that's a very depressed, very down, energy draining state, and that can lead to suicidal ideation. It can lead to severe depression, anxiety. It can lead to some really terrible states of mind. So this is a small snippet today on problem gambling. We will get into all of this much more, but in the program of Energy and Personal Excellence, there are these brief recordings, and then there will be much more extensive recordings, books, lectures, videos, etc., on a variety of different topics. Any questions or comments, please send them to me at 302-268-4480. That's my phone number, or my email, sachinkarnik@yahoo.com, or personal.excellence10008 at gmail.com. Thank you.